And we are back with the head coach of the U.S. men's national team, Gregg Berhalter. We will begin with questions and start with Sam Stayskull from The Athletic.
Thanks, Michael. Thanks, Greg. After the match Sunday, you were pretty strong in your comments and your belief that you guys controlled and dominated some facets of the game. Also, you pointed out a few more areas that needed improvement: chance creation, taking advantage of transition opportunities. I'm sure you've had a chance to watch it back. I'm curious if you still feel similarly to how you felt to when you spoke to us on Sunday, or if anything stuck out new in a positive or negative way on a rewatch.
No, I mean, I think watching the game back, confirmed what I was talking about. We're bitterly disappointed with the loss, but happy with the effort, and think there was more in that game. We could have gotten more out of the game. It was watching it back. I think the one thing I was noticing was Canada was in a very low block, 10 guys behind the ball. It was very difficult to break down. Man-orientated defending, and it became complicated. There was less space between the lines because there were no lines at times with their back six at times, and it became challenging. But for us, I think giving up the goal in that way wasn't great. That was an area that we could have improved on. And then, again, reasserting that there was moments in and around the penalty box where we could have been more clinical with our passing, with our crossing, and then the offensive transition should have been better. The moments that they were open and they were coming, we could have taken advantage of that in a better way. But again, pleased with the effort of the group, pleased with the intensity. The numbers in the game, said a lot. But unfortunately, we didn't get any points out of the game. Looking forward, in terms of the big picture, we win this next game and we can keep our hold of second place, and that was our goal coming into this round, to maintain second place, and we're in position to do that.
Next will be Paul Kennedy from Soccer America.
Thank you, Greg. You'll be playing Honduras, which is now eliminated. It's lost a bunch of games in a row. At the same time, they rotated most of their team from the last game and have Albert Elise back, who didn't face you in October, or in September, sorry. Speak a little bit of Honduras and what a tricky game this is for you guys to face.
Yeah, I mean, you could make the argument that now they're playing free, they're relaxed because they're officially eliminated, and it's a dangerous opponent. We know in World Cup qualifying every opponent is difficult. I don't think they've been as bad as the results have shown. Their expected goals numbers is really high. They should be scoring more than they have been. So I think it's a tricky team. You mentioned Albert Elise, very good transition player, dominant in offensive transition, good in and around the penalty box. He's good on crosses. Kyoto, we know him as well, very, very good player. Lozano, good player. So they're going to be tricky. And for us, it's about how do we keep the tempo high, how do we wear them down, and then and score goals to win the game.
Next will be Jerry Zgoda from the Star Tribune.
I know you don't train until later this afternoon, but have you been able to get down either yesterday or today to look at the pitch or get any reports about how it's going to play as the temperatures continue to drop here?
Yeah, we'll figure that out when we get over to the stadium. All reports have been that the pitch is in very good condition.
Next will be Stephen Goff from the Washington Post.
Given the issues you've confronted against Canada, what are your instruction to players when they're in situations where you have the ball 30, 35 yards from the goal and there's a low block there? What kind of instruction do you give now?
I mean, that's the hardest thing to do in soccer, Stephen, right? We know that. And part of our instruction is, can we penetrate on the strong side? Can we get behind them on the strong side? If not, how do we switch field quickly to get behind them on that side? Then when you can't do that, what type of balls are you putting into the penalty box? What type of crosses are you looking to put in? And do you have runners? And then as that whole thing is happening, are you well balanced that you can take advantage of any balls that come out to the top of the penalty box, that you can be winning those balls? So it's an exercise that we need to keep working on. Most teams struggle with that. But we'll keep going.
Next will be Grant Wall.
Hey, Greg. Eunice and Christian haven't had a chance to play that many games together, and I'm wondering if you think Eunice not being as impactful in the attack the last couple of games is connected to him still figuring things out with Christian or even deferring to him? And if so, how do you get them to figure things out quickly?
I haven't related those two things together. Eunice was playing on the right side in the game. Christian was playing on the left side yesterday, so I haven't connected that relationship. We know Eunice isn't necessarily a player that's extremely goal dangerous, but that doesn't mean he's not effective and he doesn't do things that lead to goal opportunities. And in the El Salvador game, he had a very good chance. He's shown against Costa Rica and Jamaica that he can attract players and create space for other players as well. He's very good on the dribble. He's very good taking space on the dribble. So he has a huge upside, a huge skill set that can really help our team be successful. And regarding Christian, he was very tightly marked in the game. I still thought he found some space at times to be effective, drawing players to him. He got fouled a number of times in good positions. He laid some balls off. The pass he gave to Anthony Robinson was a great pass behind the line that unfortunately the cross didn't arrive in the right position. But he still has a way to affect the game even when he's marked.
We'll go to Doug McIntyre from Fox.
Thanks, Michael. Greg, you talked about the effort against Canada. Given how important it is to get the 3 points tomorrow, how much extra urgency, desperation do you expect to see from your team, or do you want to see from your team tomorrow? Thank you.
Listen, I think we go out and we play hard and we play to win the game. That's the message to the team. It's not time to panic. Other teams have been through this. We've been through it before, and we just stick to the process and play hard, compete, move the ball fast, try to get the ball in the penalty box as quickly as possible. We talked about stretching the team, getting behind them, and that's our formula. Defensively, we've been solid throughout this tournament, and we'll continue to do so.
Next will be Jeff Carlisle from ESPN FC.
Thanks, Michael. Hey, Greg.
Hey, Jeff.
When Tyler Adams isn't on the field, how much do you have to tweak things, if at all? Because it seems like just his ability to cover ground gives you something special and really helps you out a lot defensively.
Yeah, defensively, he's an absolute all-star. The plays he makes defensively are unbelievable, and he showed that in the game against Canada. So, we'll miss that for sure. With players that we have, we feel like we have guys that can cover ground and win duels, so we'll put someone in there that can do that as well.
Next will be Paul Tenorio.
Thanks, Michael. Greg, kind of building on that, with Tyler out, considering the vulnerabilities maybe of Honduras giving up 19 goals, home field advantage, the need to get 3 points, the discussion around Christian trying to unlock him a little bit more, is there consideration to moving Christian inside and maybe bringing on another attack-oriented winger and be a little bit more attack-minded, or do you feel like changing things that much, is a little bit too risky, considering the stakes in the game, and a more like-for-like switch for Tyler would be, the better route to avoid too much change? Thank you.
I think we always have to take the opponent into consideration, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, and try to play a way that's going to hurt them. And with Honduras, we see some clear strengths and weaknesses. And, one of their strengths is offensive transition, so we need to be well balanced. There's a consideration. Christian moved to the 10 spot in the last minutes of the Canada game. He was able to be a little bit more central. But we'll see. I think it's something that we're still working through. We'll go on the training field today and see how it looks.
We'll go to Ivis Galarcep from SBI Soccer.
Greg, after the match, you said that Walker should be okay for this game. What's the latest as far as Walker Zimmerman goes? And as far as two guys who had some rough moments against Canada, Matt Turner and Miles Robinson, two guys who had unbelievable second halves of 2021. It's kind of the first adversity they're facing with the national team. What do you think about what they went through, and how do you kind of see them getting through that first kind of taste of national team adversity?
Yeah, the national team is a different level, right? And it's understanding, what it's about. If you think about the amount of pressure that the teams are under, that individuals are under, it's a different level. And all we can do is control what we can control. And that's how we're working and how we're learning and how we're improving. So for those two players in particular, it was great. I had conversations with both of them, and we unpacked their performance, and I'm confident that they're going to get it right. Matt is a guy that hasn't made too many mistakes in the USA jersey, right? And Miles the same thing. So I think as Miles gets some rhythm, he'll be just fine. Regarding Walker, we're going to get on the training field today and see what he can do. I'm positive about the outlook, but we'll see it today on the training field.
Next will be Ron Blum from the Associated Press.
Hi, Greg. Thanks for this.
Yep.
Does, at this point in the schedule, the pressure to win the last 2 home games change the mindset at all, that even though it's always to win, and because of the increase in pressure this late, is there anything you do or say to alleviate it on the guys?
I think you put the players at ease by working in a similar way. You take the emotion out of it, you analyze the game, analyze what we could have done better against Canada, and come up with a game plan for Honduras, and you go from there. I think the guys, preparation breeds confidence, and preparing them the best way we can for what this game's going to look like is important. But as far as we're concerned, it's, we go do our thing. We've been very strong at home, very dominant at home with our performances, and we want to continue that.
We'll take 2 more questions for Greg and continue with Daniel Nora from Univision.
Thank you, Michael. Hi, Greg. Hope you're doing well.
Thanks, Dan.
In the number 9 position, do you see at some point Tim Weah having minutes as a 9 in this team? Do you see that possible?
Tim's been really effective on the wing. Think about what he's done in these last qualifiers. So he set up a goal against Mexico, scored a goal against Jamaica, set up a goal against El Salvador. So he's been a really bright spot for us on the wing, and it hasn't crossed our minds to continue to change that. One thing we know is Tim likes space. He likes to have space behind him. If you think about a game like Canada where there was very little space behind for the striker, I'm not sure that would have suited him that well anyway. But Tim's been doing great, a really bright spot in our attack.
Last question will be Avi Creditor from Sports Illustrated.
Thanks, Michael. Hey, Greg. Just back to Tyler real quick. Do you have a sense of the severity of this injury? Is this something that could bleed over into the March window, or something that could come down to the wire for him?
From the initial diagnosis, it's not that severe. It will certainly hold him out of this game on Wednesday, but it's not that severe that he'll be out for a long time. The goal is to get him, back on the field at Leipzig as soon as possible, and we're extremely optimistic about the March window.